There was 10 NFL teams that needed a new head coach. We're going to talk about it next. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Make It Count Sports Channel. I'm your host JG, and you haven't seen my face in a while, so I'm pretty sure everyone's happy by that.
Hot damn!
But today I want to talk about the coaching hires in the NFL, as we just got news of the last two potential coaching hires, and I wanted to talk about them. But I want to talk about all of the coaching hires and give them some grades, solid grades, and the criteria is going to be based on the coaching pedigree, the fit, the pieces the team has, the cap room, all of those things are going to factor into my grades. These are all my opinions. They're not influenced by anybody else. I don't have a deal with DraftKings. DraftKings, call me if you really need somebody that really could use a sponsorship. In seriousness, you just listen to the picks. If you haven't, please like, comment, subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. All right, let's start off with our first one. We're going to start with the Cardinals. There's rumors the Cardinals are going to hire Mike LaFleur. He's the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. And I'll say I would give that a solid B grade. I don't know much about Mike LaFleur, but I do know much about the LaFleur family, and they came from working with the Shanahans. So they have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to running a West Coast offense. I think the Cardinals' issue, however, wasn't really offense. They just had a lot of injuries. So we'll see. We don't know what their identity at quarterback is. Is it Kyler Murray? I highly doubt it. Is James Conner going to be the starting running back next day? No. With his injury history, I just kind of think he needs to be in a platoon situation and not the lead man. I will say that they got some pieces in Trey Benson that I think is really exciting. And they got Bam Knight. So they got a couple pieces, but we're going to wonder what they're going to do with offense. I think they found a gem in Michael Wilson. They got one of the best tight ends in Trey McBride. They got a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the ball, and their offensive line is improving. So, I mean, we'll see what kind of what they're going to do in the offseason. That's really going to determine this hire. Right now, it's a solid B minus, but it can get elevated to a B plus if they get the right pieces. The Las Vegas Raiders have decided that they're going to pounce on Clint Kubiak, who is the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. This one is kind of I don't really like the move.
It doesn't matter what you think!
Oh! But not for what you think, not the traditional reason. I don't like it for Clint Kubiak. I think he's a really stellar offensive coach. His father, Gary Kubiak, was an NFL coach for many years in the NFL, running the Denver offenses at sometimes. He was in Houston at one point. The Raiders have a history of really kind of being impatient, right? Like, they're an organization that don't really wait. They got some good pieces. They got Ashton Jeanty, who became a phenomenal running back. It's still a good running back too. Brock Bowers is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. But they have really no other identity. They're probably going to end up letting Max Crosby go because they just don't know what to do with someone of his caliber, and he's going to go to a winning team. And I'll make a video later on about where Max Crosby can end up going. Personally, I would think he needs to go to a contender. Hear me out. They've fired Pete Carroll after 1 year, Antonio Pierce after 1 year. This organization has a lot of impatience, and you can sit there and say a lot about Antonio Pierce and having a lack of hiring or coaching experience, but you can't say that about Pete Carroll. He was actually a home run hire last year, and of course that burned really quickly. So,
hello, it's me.
Look at that face.
Hello from the other side.
For Kubiak, as a first-time head coach, my concern goes back to if the Raiders are going to have enough patience. They need to nail their first-round pick. I mean, at this point, we can almost guarantee that Mendoza is going to be the number one pick from Indiana, that phenomenal quarterback after winning that national championship. Fernando Mendoza is going to be the pick. But you need something else. You need a dynamic wide receiver to go with Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty, right? And the defensive side of the ball, how are you going to be able to make that defense go? Time will tell. But I would say right now, from looking at this, I think it's a great hire for the Raiders. I think it's a bad move for Kubiak. I would have waited, kind of do the Ben Johnson and wait for another offseason and then a better organization, or at least an organization that had some pieces well established already, better pieces established. That would have been the move for me if I was him. But kudos to him anyway. The next team we're going to talk about, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns is one of the worst organizations in the NFL. That is not an opinion. You can ask many fans across the NFL, many fans across the United States, many fans in general. And they let go Kevin Stefanski to bring in Todd Monken. I have nothing against Todd Monken. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. But you let a two-time NFL Coach of the Year walk away to bring in Todd Monken. Your issue was offense, not because it was unimaginative. It's because you had a fifth-round quarterback in Shedeur Sanders running your offense for half of the season. Before that, you had a third-round pick in Dylan Gabriel. And then you had old man Joe Flacco for the first part of the season. So again, you had no real continuity from the quarterback. You had your running backs being Jerome Ford for the first 3 games first game or 2 before Quinyon Junkins came in, and he was a rookie, and he had split time with Dylan Sampson, who was a 4th-round pick. Again, you have a lot of rookies. And who's your wide receiver? Jerry Jeudy?
Oh, Lord, have me.
And then after that, you had David Njoku. Harold Fannin Jr. was a great find in the 3rd round from Bowling Green. Again, your offense was put together, literally put together by the scraps of the heap. And that's not knocking those players individually. It's just saying that they're not a team on paper that you're scared to go against. It's not like you're going against the Rams or the Seahawks, or defensively you're going to be in shambles trying to figure out how to stop those offenses. The Browns are pretty one-dimensional because of the design. And at this point, Cleveland, come here. Come close. Right. Fire Andrew Berry. Please. He's the one GM that paid for Deshaun Watson. Guaranteed contract. He has not done anything helpful for this organization since he's been there. Fire him, please. Back up. Thank you. Too close, too far. Okay, that's good. Good. The point is, get rid of him. The next team we're discussing, the Tennessee Titans. And they're bringing in Robert Saleh, who I think had a great pedigree as a defensive coordinator. His 2 stints in San Francisco, even when he was with Seattle, he was great. I think he made the Jets defense a lot better than what we saw this past offseason. And again, he wasn't obviously with the team, but if you look at the Jets this past season, they were the worst defense in the NFL. Hands down. Can't tell me in whatever year they started tracking, 107 years, that one team could not get an interception. And the Jets were the first team. The 2025 New York Jets was the first team. And let's be honest, the year before that, team was great defensively, just had no offensive identity. What offensive coordinator can he pair up that's going to help bridge the gap? The defense wasn't bad in Tennessee, but it definitely is going to be much more improved. But who can he bring in? Oh, right. He's bringing in Brian Dable. And its irony is they both were coaching in New York for different teams at the same time. Brian Dable is now going to be working with, instead of Jackson Dart, he's going to be working with Cam Ward. And there was rumors that he wanted to actually get Cam Ward to New York. So now he gets his wish with Tennessee. Tennessee has a lot of holes.
Wait a minute.
Tennessee also leads the league right now. As of current recording, they have the most cap room in the NFL. So, of course, NFL free agency is in March. We got about a month away from before that happens. Can Tennessee go ahead and build a contender? It's kind of the similar blueprint the Patriots did, right? Patriots had one of the most cap rooms in the NFL last year, and they went and got heavy on the defensive side of the ball, brought in Stephon Diggs to kind of help Drake May out, and now they're in the Super Bowl. So maybe they'll replicate the same strategy. I like the hire. I'll give the Robert Saleh an A-. I think it's a good hire. The next team we're going to discuss, the Miami Dolphins. They decided to poach Jeff Hatley, the defensive coordinator from the Green Bay Packers. He was previously the head coach at Boston College prior to becoming the defensive coordinator for the Packers. So what's my grade on this hire? A D.
Oh my God!
Jeff Hatley, and I don't want to say this to be mean. I'm not excited by the hire. I don't really understand it.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anyway.
Do they have issues on the defensive side of the ball? I feel like they had issues all over. Consistency, leadership, all this. Last stint with the Green Bay Packers, their defense was not as good as once advertised. And again, losing Micah Parsons will do that. I can't deny that. I don't know if the issue here with Miami is just defense, right? They don't even know if Tua is going to be their starting quarterback. I will say with almost 98% certainty, he will not be the quarterback next year. You got Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill may likely not be there. So you're going to lose Tyreek and Tua, possibly. I don't know if Jeff Hatley will solve it. Well, it depends on what they do in free agency and the draft. That might change the outlook, but right now I'm giving it a D. There's nothing exciting about this move, which leads to our next team, the New York Giants. New York Giants moved from Brian Dable mid-season. A lot of question marks about what they're doing, and they decided to go aggressive and went and got the best head coach they can possibly believe they can get in John Harbaugh. I'll give his grade a solid A. Not an A+, A. A plus would have been if he was a little bit younger personally. I know that sounds weird, but he's a 63-year-old head coach. Your team lacked discipline. It lacked accountability. You're getting a coach who has won a Super Bowl, who has a pedigree. I wonder, and this is a very valid wonder, what are the Giants going to do with their offensive line? Like, are they going to go ahead and get some former Ravens players? I know Tyler Lindenbaum is a free agent center. He's a Pro Bowl center, all-pro center. Giants definitely need help with the offensive line. That would be a great pickup, right? But they don't have cap room. They're the opposite of Tennessee. They have little to no cap room. They're going to have to restructure some contracts, cut some guys. The Giants need talent to make this John Harbaugh work. On the surface, it's a great hire because you needed a coach to bring excitement to the fan base. You need a coach that's going to rally the troops. You got a lot of good pieces on that edge, on the front four with Abdul Carter, Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. You got pieces around. You just need to continue to add more pieces and get good coaching, and we'll see the Giants go from the laughingstock of the NFL to probably a fringe playoff team. The next team, the Atlanta Falcons. There's a saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Behold, my stuff.
Atlanta took that literally. They got rid of their head coach, Raheem Morris, who I think at the time when he got hired a couple years ago, I wasn't fond of. I thought it was a really kind of lazy hire.
You sure about that?
They decided to go ahead and get Kevin Stefanski. Now, from this move, I'm going to give this a solid A-. I like Kevin Stefanski. I know he kind of butchered the Shedeur move a little bit.
No, try again.
This guy's a great big phony.
I get it. But there's no denying that he was a good coach. He has won 2 Coach of the Years honors. He got the Browns to the playoffs twice, which a lot of people can't do. And yes, he's had 11 NFL quarterbacks that he's started in his tenure. But again, Andrew Berry is still the worst GM in the NFL. Look, the point is, at the end of the day, in Atlanta, he has Michael Penix Jr. Can he fix that?
Perhaps.
We don't know. But he has worked with Kirk Cousins when he was in Minnesota.
You like that? You like that?
So that can actually benefit. If Minnesota, there's some familiarity there. He got, if Kyle Pitts resigns, they got a solid tight end. He started playing better towards the end of the season. You got Drake London. You got Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. You got some pieces on the defensive side of the ball. The team could be a competitive team. And the NFC South is pretty weak, right? Right? The Carolina Panthers kind of lucked their way in. So, anybody at any given point, higher grade is a good solid A-. We got 3 teams left. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens moved off of John Harbaugh, which was one of the more surprising things that happened so far this offseason. I understand them missing the playoffs and a lot of things, but I thought with the injuries to Lamar, some of the injuries on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, I thought they would have a little bit more grace. He goes out. In comes Jesse Minter. If you're not familiar with who Jesse Minter is, he was the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. And before that, he was with the Michigan Wolverines when they won the national title. I don't think he was part of the cheating scandal. Anyway, the point is, Baltimore gets an A for this move. Why? Baltimore's biggest issue not always was offense. It was mostly their defense. Their defense has been putrid the last few years. You just didn't see that with the Baltimore Ravens. There was just no effort sometimes on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, they have a bunch of pieces on the defensive side of the ball, but they need to go back to traditional, let's play some hard-nosed defense, let's run the ball, let's set up Lamar for success. I think it's a good hire. Last 2 hires, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is going to be the grade that I don't care how anyone feels, it's the truth. Pittsburgh, you get an F. You get an F. You get an F. This is probably the worst hire I've seen this cycle. Here's why. Do I like Mike McCarthy as a head coach? Yes. Is he a good head coach? Yes. Has he won 12 games 3 consecutive years when he was with the Dallas Cowboys? Yes. Has he won a Super Bowl 4? Yes. Why is it a bad hire? It's a lazy hire. It's a safe hire. Mike McCarthy doesn't have a quarterback right now. They're going to try to bring back Aaron Rodgers. You need a long-term solution if you want to win this NFL. You're not going to be able to win with 1-year Aaron Rodgers as he get older deals. You got to get something more consistent. And yes, they won a division because of Baltimore. To me, Cincinnati choking away defensively, still being a bad defensive team. Cleveland,
still a piece of garbage,
having a complete ineptitude of building a roster. And then the Ravens having injuries. That might not happen next year. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to hit it hard in free agency.
I put him in position, no diddy. And I get him up there.
Get out.
And you got to draft extremely well. But I don't like this hire. I just don't. Now, firing Doug McDermott was a pretty big thing, right? I called it. If they weren't going to win, he was going to get fired. So, but I didn't record it, so nobody knows.
This guy's a great big phony.
The point is, Sean McDermott is out. Joe Brady gets elevated. I think this was a really quick coaching hire. It wasn't a really long time. They was interviewing and entertaining the idea of Phillip Rivers, which would have been why. I like it. I think it's a solid B+, maybe teetering to an A-. Joe Brady's already worked with Josh Allen. He has familiarity. They even was kind of dabbling. They were actually dabbling with Dable. Wait, I can't say that, right? No, I don't think I should say that. Okay, they were entertaining bringing back Brian Dable for the head coaching job. They decided to go with Joe Brady. I like Joe Brady. It just depends on what they do on the offensive side. Josh Allen needs help. Please get him some receivers. Get him some receivers. Get some healthy defensive players who could not hold every play or who can actually play a full 17-game schedule. Again, why is Billy Beane still there? Oh! And there you have it. Those are my grades for the NFL coaching cycle 2025-2026. If you have an opinion, put a comment down below. If you agree with me, like it. If you don't agree with me, like it still. As always, let's make it count. I'm your host, JG. Have a good one.